pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions or amendments to the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Change orders?
Do you want to do public comments?
Any public comments on the crowd?
I may. Arlene Sticka. I was debating whether I should say anything or not because I've kind of given up on a lot of things. But I liked last Friday's county commission meeting and the topics that you were discussing. That's kind of where I've been going down that road also. But from what I gathered, it was more about the businesses we have and expanding them. How about if we open it up to new businesses also, not just what we have? I think recruitment comes into the picture because when you get a business, if you want it to be a successful business, you're also needing to help recruit a better class of people. People that are willing to work. They're not just there for a paycheck. They're there because they care about how they do a job. The other thing I think, which really amazes me, why it's not something that's talked about. You've got such a good location. You've got 4 highways that pass through the county. And you've got this one here, Highway 56, between Marion and Hillsborough. They're coming from the east, and some are coming from the north and south, I guess, too. But wouldn't it be nice to have a really nice restaurant? And I'm not talking about Mexican food and Oriental and barbecue. Not everybody likes that type of food. How about getting a nice, good American restaurant type? Maybe like a buffet. Buffet would be great too. And I know some people don't want Marion County to grow. I've heard it from some and that I've talked to. And their thinking is, well, we want Marion to stay small. Nobody said you have to turn this place into Chicago or Wichita or any of those type of towns. But you do need expansion. And I'm just thinking I've actually, when I first was living in Marion was back in 2004, 2007. And back then I can remember there were some businesses that wanted to come in and it was always no. Why don't we quit saying no, 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 and start saying yes, yes, yes. And you won't necessarily bring in the riffraff if you have the right type of businesses that draw in a better class of people. And I think housing can go along with expansion in that way. I don't think just building a bunch of new housing is going to necessarily do it. It's going to bring in some people, but you don't want the low income coming in because that's what will then kind of take over. And when you have that happening, then other people kind of see that and say, no, I don't want to live there. So something to consider.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
We're well spoken.
Thank you.
Anything else? Nobody online? Close public comments? Administrative business?
All right, we have some change orders.
He needs access to the spaceship over there, sorry.
Spaceship Horizon.
Yeah. Little flying saucer. He's trying to fix our internet in here, so
Wireless access point.
so sorry.
Everyone stand up.
It's a good time to stretch.
Mine's
Back in
working.
session here.
My wireless is working.
Feel free to sit in another seat. That's okay. I'm not sure.
Are we taking a break now or what?
No,
No, we're just having technical difficulties, so we're gonna keep going, but hope to fix.
Okay, we have the minutes of January 26th.
Just want you to have room to work.
Please.
additions or corrections?
Make a motion to approve January 26th.
Second? Second by Ken. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, then we have the minutes of January 30th.
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sign front and back.
Okay.
I received two things in the mail today. I provided to each of you. One was for fact requesting the $6,000, and then a letter from North Central Flint Hills Area Agency on Aging. Would you like to put those on the agenda for next week? Or take care of it now?
Yeah, the aging was just you're appointing somebody, wasn't it?
Yes, in
The appointment.
they want a written notice, so we'd have to send them a letter.
Make a motion to authorize staff to provide our written letter approving reappointment.
No, okay. I'll second to that.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I guess it was unsaid that we approved the roof. Don't have to motion and vote.
Well, since you said in your motion to authorize staff to,
Just make sure I don't skip
reappointment,
this step.
otherwise I would have said,
Okay.
No, the what?
Really should have approved
you should have done the
Okay.
reappointment.
before I
Yeah.
asked the staff.
But since you included it all, I think it's,
Put the facts on for next week.
Put that on for next week? Okay. And that is all I have.
okay.
Ready for Isaac, I guess?
Well, the only thing that I have is the we purchased that used semi, and we have a new quote for the belly dump. There was one change that they wanted to make, and it's my understanding that this particular one we're looking at, the vendor that we had the second bid from the last time, they were not able to quote on that. So last time we had one, this time we have the same company. And the amount is $42,530, which is basically what we paid for the previous one. So I'll let you look that over.
That fund, wow, it's new year, so that fund ought to be okay to make this purchase.
Yes, I mean, as of right now, it's fine. We'll have to keep an eye on things throughout the year, but it was intended to be.
Right.
So. It would be through, it's 42,000, is that 530 or 350?
42,530.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be especially.
You got an estimate on time of delivery?
I would assume it would be the same as it was last time, so it'd be a couple months, so we should have it in time for spring.
So that would be a 2026 special equipment. I didn't think we'd encumbered any.
No, we didn't. That's the reason you didn't go ahead and approve it, was to get it into the new budget year, so.
Make a motion.
There goes the flying sauce.
To approve the purchase of another belly dump trailer for $42,530.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was all that I had.
Took away my signal strength.
Oh.
I went to nothing.
You have your packets open, or did it go away?
Well, I still have my packet open.
Okay, good.
Still online too, so I'm still hanging in there.
Yeah.
Do y'all have the blue cords if you need to plug in?
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Okay.
That's one question, since I wasn't here to see this last week. The lease payments, where it says rent, is that just how it goes in your system as a category?
That's how, yeah, we probably need to, we should call it lease purchase or lease payment instead
I
of,
just wanna make sure that it is in equity.
yes, it is,
Okay. I don't, rent just throws me off, like, oh,
right?
He did say he's getting stirred. And he says really hard.
You may have to go to the 1906, if you weren't on it already, the 1906 network is what you need to go. It should be able to connect automatically for you once you press that.
I'll just do it anyway.
All right. I'm going to start off today, just kind of an end of the year report for 2025 here. I got some documents that we'll go over. I'm going to go over them fairly quickly just so we can get through everything here. If you guys have any questions at any time or want me to stop, just let me know. So this first sheet that I have here, this is our revenue report for county permits only for this year. So you can see trailer rent with the raise, we were at 90,450. Lake haul, 6,285. County permits, which would be like our ATV permits, boat permits, camping permits. We were at a total of 53,710 for a total of 150,445. underneath there, you can see 2024, we were at 137, and 2023, we were at 147. So we did have a good year this year for county permits. Lake Hall was down a little bit, but everything else was up.
I have a question on the trailer.
Yes, sir.
What's included in that?
So with the trailer rent, they pay $1,800 a year per trailer. That includes electricity and water. If they want gas, they can get gas. That is the one utility that is not included with that lot payment that they have. So it's the lot payment plus electricity and water that's included in their rent that they pay.
Okay, so what is that? I guess I'm trying to figure out what that base rent amounts to.
So
When you go back and look at the electrical charges.
Yeah.
We got $40,000 in electrical. I'm just,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If we can we jump 2 pages ahead?
So we want to stop.
Keep going.
You want the trailer Evergy?
Yeah, right there. So this one right here, this shows just the breakout of the electrical. I don't want to say the problem. The hard thing is here with the trailer is with our water. We can't exactly see how much water they're using because we pay just a flat fee for gallons of water for the entire park. So I don't have any water information, but this is what we paid in electrical for just the mobile home park out there. We were at $18,945 for just the trailers. For the entire park, we were at $40,823. So it's not quite, but I mean it's almost 50% of our electrical rate. Our water payment for the entire park, which is the only way that we can get that number, was $19,747. I don't know how accurate it is, but kind of what I've done based it off of the electrical. If you just take 50% of it, which I don't know if it is 50%, you'd be at about another 10,000 for water, and then sewer you could do the same thing. Which sewer went up exponentially this year. If you look at that, we were at 23,000 last year. We did have a big hike in sewer. Everybody did out there at the lake this year. We were at 36,000, so you could say another 18,000 for sewer. I think that would give you at least a general idea of what your expenses are for the mobile home park. It's just with the water and sewer, you can't tell exactly where that's going with the way that it's set up out there.
so how many units?
How many mobile homes? We have 54.
54, so you'd take the 20,000 into the 54.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things that we have some of those mobile home owners that are up almost religiously every single weekend throughout the summer, and you have some that you might see once or twice a year. But it's the electrical is really the only thing that we can really see where that's going. But
Kind of amazes me how high some of those are. Those electrical on the trailers.
payments,
Monthly,
yeah. And that's the other thing, with the way that they're blocked off, the way that they are blocked off with just like the plots, it's hard to tell exactly who's doing what or where a lot of that's going. And I'm sure like there's certain sections, I guess if you want to say sections, where it's not all family, but it's family and friends. So I'm sure those are high because they're all up all the same weekends throughout the year, if that makes sense. And some of them, there's like 3 or 4 trailers in a row where maybe one of them uses them once a month. But
So clarify that again, you said we have 54 units
yes, correct.
and it's $1,800 a month?
Correct.
Or
A
$1,800.
year, 1,800 a year, yeah, sorry.
So by my math, 1,800 times 54 is $97,000.
That'd be correct. So, and I'll tell you, we're not exactly at 97 because of how they pay that, because they can pay that annually, biannually, or quarterly. So some of the payments for this year probably came last year at the end of the year in 2024, if that makes sense. So they could have paid in like October of last year, and they could have paid $1,800 in October of last year to pay up to October of 2026, but that payment went on 2024's. Does that make sense?
So with electricity and sewer, you got $70,000?
47,000 in expenses roughly.
If you broke it up, if you just said, and that, I mean, I think it'd be close if you just said 50% of what that overall utility expense is for water, sewer, and electrical, based off of strictly just the electrical.
Your opinion, we're not losing money on this rate?
No, I do think that the increase that we did here, is that 2 years ago now? I think that was a big help.
Still covering it at this point.
You know, we had, if sorry, if you look back, I mean, 2022 was exceptionally high, but it did drop back down the following years. I mean, the 18,000 that we were at this year was about the same that we paid in 20 and 2021. 2022 numbers on the electrical, I mean, all the way across for the park and the trailers alone. I mean, at 2022, we had almost $22,000 in electrical expense for just the mobile homes. So it dropped back down. We're back in the 18 range, which is kind of on average. I have numbers going back to 2017, and 18,000 has kind of been where we've been sitting for the most part. I do think that the jump we did a couple of years ago was, yeah.
23 or 4 had some extreme heat months.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. If
And that would vary depending on when they came. COVID, I think there was more activity out there than
normal.
normal. The usage would be higher a couple of them years, probably just from that alone.
Can we go to this? Yeah, that page. So this page here, this covers our total utilities for the entire park. So we were at 113,000 this year, which is also the highest we've ever been. Looking at the numbers from previous years to this year, the reason for that is our sewer rate. Last year was the highest that it had ever been, and we were at $23,316. This year we're at $36,180. So we went from paying $1,800 a month, which we had been paying that I think since I started in 2018, and then this year it went up to $3,015. So we had a significant jump in our sewer rate this year.
Basically, that's what, 12,000 divided into the, or that's the entire park, you said?
That is the entire park, yes, correct.
Maybe half of the trailers are
Yeah.
that, and the rest would be addition to the rest of the park probably.
Yeah.
That would jump the trailers almost $100 a trailer. Just on sewer. And leave the rest of the.
Sewer would strictly be Lake Hall, trailers, my shop, the house. And that would be it, cause we don't have any on-site sewer for campers, so that wouldn't affect anything. We really don't have any sewer anywhere else in the park. I know we've talked about it in the past, but our issue there has been the sewer system out at the lake already being overloaded, which is I guess the reason for the big hike that we had this year with what the improvements district has been doing out there at the park.
So as far as sewer locations, you have
The
54 plus 4?
pretty much, yep.
So you could basically divide that 36 down by 58, and you would know what it costs per hookup.
Per hookup, yeah. And like the lake hall is probably very minimal, whereas our public restroom is probably,
With the,
general.
it's they can't monitor the sewer.
Yeah, exactly.
You're getting charged per location.
Yeah,
That's how they're doing that.
Yeah.
It's still coming out ahead right now.
Yeah, as of now, yeah.
So we need to watch for next year probably. If we need to raise the rent
Yeah.
on the trailers.
Sewer would be the only issue at this point. If
Yeah.
we Need to make an adjustment.
Yeah, because it was, I mean, it really was a substantial.
So if I take the
36
36, 180
divided by 58.
divided by 58, my calculation says that's $600 a month, or $600 a year
Per
per
location.
location. So a third of that rent is going to sewer
Yeah.
for the trailer.
Yeah.
And then you add electricity,
You got 600,
you got basically 623, so you take
623.80.
19,000 for electricity divided by the 54 units. That's another $352 per unit.
Times 54. So 30,000 of it. 685 plus
$900.
10 plus 19. 43, 52, 62,000. 62,000 in expenses instead of 47,000.
And then you add the water in there. I realize you probably have water at the campgrounds.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
If we figured half of that, that's another $10,000 in expenses.
That's what I got.
And I think on that page that's up right now,
62,000.
at the page that's up now, like if you look at our water, on just the water line, if we go over our set amount of gallons that we are given by the improvement district, then we get an extra charge on that. So like those busy months throughout the summer, there were a couple where we were a little over our 1610, which is our given amount, especially in July and August. I do think like that right there, that big reason is camping. We have 4th of July, which is a crazy weekend out there. Then the first weekend of August, we got the Bluegrass Festival, which is also, but that 1610s are, I guess, our going rate. And then if we go over that set amount of gallons, we do get an extra charge on that.
Yeah, but you're looking at less than $1,000 in extra charge.
Yeah. It's not, it's not
That's
significant.
insignificant.
Yeah.
And then you add the gas, we got another $9,000 in gas charges. And so that's paid by,
So the gas would not be included in the mobile homes.
Yes, it's
That is on them.
It's a lake hole in the house.
And the heated dock and the shop over there. And the bathrooms, but yeah, the gas, they do have hookups for those mobile homes, but that is the one utility that if they do want that falls on them.
and so that gas is not included in this spreadsheet. They pay that on their own, or we pay it and they pay us?
They pay that on their own. If they have gas at their mobile home, that is in their name and they get billed directly for that.
Still okay with that bump. We wouldn't have been okay with that.
Without, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. With that bump, I mean, that made it a whole lot better. Yeah.
Well, you also got to figure in parts of salaries got to go towards that too. I mean, between and then
Somebody's mowing the yard,
some things, there's
moving
some
snow, uncaptured.
yeah.
Maybe we ought to look for the future, maybe think about raising it $100 come December 31st. Put it on the agenda to bring it back up and be justified and see what electricity does this year.
We raised that 2 years ago. It hadn't been raised for
12.
Yeah.
I think it was 12 years.
We raised it a couple $100, didn't we?
Yeah, it went from 1,200 to 1,800 is what it was. It was 1,200 a year we went up to 1,800.
That's why we got so much Because it was pretty substantial.
If we do 100 this year, we'll be able to make it.
We were running in the hole.
The bait shop,
Yeah, and then the last page I have here. Is our bait shop revenue expense report. We took this back to 2022, which was the first year that we did have that bait shop. It's been one of those things every year it's gotten busier and busier. People have found out that we have it. The bait shop out at the reservoir closed towards the end of this year, so I'm expecting it to just go up again next year, but we've noticed a significant increase this year in traffic and everything, and we're still kind of running that. I guess if you want to say bare bones, it's pretty basic what we have in there, but it seems to be working really well.
Our new vendor for bait has worked out.
Say that again.
The new vendor for the bait.
Yeah, and that was the other thing that happened this year is our bait vendor that we've had, they closed down and sold. And so we didn't have a bait vendor for a couple of, well, maybe a month and a half, and we found a new supplier. So, and it's gone really smooth. The old one was out of McPherson, the new one's out of McPherson.
Your revenue line, what's the 1,860?
That's just the sales. That's what we paid in sales tax.
So it's not actually revenue.
No. Or the 27,865.19 is where we were at there.
So your actual profit margin is
That should be the
that's corrected. That's correct.
Yeah. I just included that in there, but it's based off the net sales.
So the net increase in sales you think is coming from foot traffic, not just the cost of product?
Well,
Some of both?
yeah, probably some of both. Because the items that we've purchased, it goes up. We haven't, pretty much since we've opened till now, we've had this exact same, I guess, if you want to say, it's like we haven't
Increased prices.
We've increased prices, but we haven't increased inventory, if that makes sense. I mean, this stuff, the stuff that we have in there. I mean, we kind of what I'll do is because we buy like all the grocery items and everything we get locally, depending on where they're at, is kind of how we adjust where we're at.
Yeah.
And the bait really hasn't changed for us at all. Looking at previous years to this year, but the grocery items is where we've seen the most of an increase. Yeah.
you buy pop off the truck, or you have to buy it from the grocery store?
Buy it from the grocery store. Just try to.
Any cheaper?
Buy it on sale.
Yeah, we try to get pretty much everything that we can in there locally, and then just add a convenience fee and sell it that way. But
Anything new you might want to add, or?
we get asked for a lot of stuff. I mean, there are things that might be nice to have in there. We get asked about ice cream a lot, but with ice cream, then you get a freezer. And it just kind of depends. It just kind of depends because it would be nice to have more stuff, but at the same time, with what we have and what we're doing outside of the bait shop, I think if you get too much stuff, it almost just becomes. It could potentially become too much. I mean, too much for what it is. But I mean, we do get asked a lot of stuff. Like we don't carry any high-end rod and reels and things like that. We don't carry anything that's frozen or expires quickly. I mean, some of that stuff we get asked for, bread and things like that. We just kept from getting it just so we don't really have to pitch it out. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that there'd be times it would be all right to have in there, but we just haven't done it.
Twinkies or zingers?
Yeah, we do.
They can last a nuclear bomb. So
It's a big one for the heated dock guys. Yeah, they like to come up and get those kinds of
they don't
snacks.
expire, even if the package says so. They never expire.
Are there any other questions on that one?
So you don't include any utility costs?
So I don't, I mean, that is something that I could figure out, I mean, the reason I don't is because whether that was there or not, we would have utility costs for the office to sell permits and everything else out of. I mean, we could split those utilities for the office, 50-50 between the bait shop and the utilities for the office. I mean, I don't know exactly how we'd wanna do that. I haven't ever included any utilities in this. No, I have not.
So you're basically charging all your staff time and utilities and to the permit.
Yeah, side of things, yeah, and I mean, we could split that or whatever we wanted to do there and we could adjust that. But this is strictly just the store items on this page here that I have.
Bare bones accounting.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
That was a lot. It's all well laid out, though. I mean, it's simplified so we can see it
And that's
quick.
what I was gonna say, I have breakouts of everything for like the lake hall and all of that. It just becomes a lot of paperwork. So if we do ever wanna go over that stuff, I mean, I could definitely come back and we can, but I just didn't bring it today.
You want to report
If we ever-
what you've done, what benches you've replaced?
Yeah, well, and I got a couple other things that I need to go over. I just wanted to do this end of the year report first since I hadn't had a chance to talk to you guys about that. I guess we can go on to the next thing, which is those pictures. Okay, so here, a little over a month ago, this is to the east of, it's called Tin Whistle Cove. So where this red line is here, we had about an 80-foot cottonwood tree fall.
The next picture.
And it fell to the north. So there's a creek channel that runs down through these trees, and then there's like a pond marshy area just on the east side of Lakeshore Drive there. So where those blue lines are there's a house right next to them. That lady called me, and she said what had happened was this tree had fallen, and then in the second week in November, we had a flood, and it brought a bunch of debris down that creek channel, and it all built up right behind that tree there. And what happened then when it flooded, that flood water went around that tree because it's almost created a dam and came up into her property pretty heavily. Here a year ago, there was another big one that fell down there, Road and Bridge. We got as much as we could. Road and Bridge ended up bringing out a loader and getting the rest of that out of there. But since then, this other one has fallen. I've talked to a lot of people about it. There's a couple of things that are going to be, I guess, if you want to say issues. One is the size of the tree. I do not have equipment that can handle even close to it. Second thing is access, getting to it. The only way to access that I've been able to figure out is either from the lady's private property, right where that house is, or you could potentially come in from the other side, like back through Lois Lane and come down that way. But I've been talking to Tina about it. I've got some numbers from 3 different tree services. Depending on what we need to do or what we want to do, I mean, bare minimum, it sounds like for them to get in there and just remove the big tree and leave all the other debris, we're probably gonna be looking at around 8,000 to 10,000. I didn't get any official estimates because they said if they wanted that thing actually cleaned up properly, all the debris and everything, they're probably gonna charge an hourly rate because it's gonna take a couple of weeks. Mike's came out and looked at it. If you can go to the next picture. So you can kind of see here, it's not just getting to the tree, but you're gonna have to clear a lot of stuff to get down into that tree. Since then, there's a bunch more debris that's down there. I don't know, I've talked to Steve about it, Steve knows about it. The contractors, I told them I was coming to see you guys today. I really don't know the best course of action. We talked about the possibility of trying to cut it up and piling it up and just try to see if maybe we could get the fire department out there to do some kind of training and burn it. I talked to Marcy about that. She said that it probably wouldn't be able to do that because of the closeness to residences there. But the hauling it out of there is gonna be the expensive part.
Cut up with a pathway to it, with public access. Do you think there'd be campers willing to take free firewood as long as it was cut in small amounts and just left there?
It wouldn't be the best firewood.
Nobody's going,
No, but it's-
nobody will burn cottonwood.
But it's free.
Yeah, but
And
even if
instead of
it's
buying
free,
buying the
nobody wants
cords from him, they could go out there and slowly clean it up.
Clean it up. Well, and that was the other thing that we did talk about, and you know, the tree guys talked about that too, if there'd be a way for them to get down there, kind of clean it up, cut it up and pile it up and be done. And then as a county or whatever, we could get in there and try to clear it up. What happened when it flooded back in November and when that changed the water, it ended up running over Lakeshore Drive and it created a major washout right there on the road. Since Road and Bridge has been out there, I mean, it's all fixed, but the concern is every time we get a major flood or a major amount of rain, it's just gonna continue to build up worse and worse and worse. And I know that the lady whose house was right there, she's worried about her property then becoming in a floodplain. But, I mean, really, we've looked at it, I really think the only possible way to get down to it is through her private property. And I know when Road and Bridge came and helped us with the other one here a year or so ago, that's exactly how they did it. We went down through her yard, she gave us permission to do that, and we went down there and got it out, but.
Where is the county property line at there?
Okay, so if you go back, it's, okay, so right where the base of that tree is, that base of that tree is probably, I'm gonna say 10 foot on the county property from that lady's private property line. The county owns that from Lakeshore back. Pretty much where the dense tree line is exactly where county property is. And I think I mean, I don't think anybody's been back there since the lake was built. I mean, you go back there and you look, it's a mess. Mike came and looked at it.
Worst of it is there's places about 3 foot of standing water
Yeah.
that does not drain out to where it would ever dry up.
And I know when,
As far as equipment to be able to run in there.
because when Steve was out here for the last time, he looked at the possibility of maybe trying to cut a line from Lakeshore back, but there's so much, I mean, standing water, and it's kind of like a marshy area, that the concern would be trying to get to it. And one, the amount of distance you would have to go, how much you would have to clear out from Lakeshore back to it to stay on county property, just to get back there, let alone to cut it up and get something out of there.
Even the dead debris going clear back to the east to the grass is a lot of small dead stuff that's
Yeah,
going
there's a lot of other,
to continue to work its way through that draw with flooding. That will not, if it occurs, but only when. Maybe if you had a 6 month really dry spell, it would dry out enough you could get down there and work that pretty efficiently. But today it would not.
yeah.
And we're still gonna have to access probably private property to get down in there.
So we need to do something about this because it's gonna,
That's my
it's
concern.
gonna get bigger.
That's my concern, yeah, is that if we don't,
It'll continue to get
it's
worse,
just gonna continue to get worse.
in my opinion.
And, yeah,
So after talking with Isaac, you know, he had some real concerns about us being able to manage that on our own. So I think it might be a good idea to just, to get some proposals and see what it would actually cost to have it removed and taken out. Cause even if you cut up the wood and leave it there, when the water rises, then you'll have cut wood
It's gonna end
everywhere.
up in the lake someday.
Yeah, so, once you have a proposal, you can always say yes or no to it.
and we can do that, talking to those contractors, like they said, we can do that in different ways, because it's messy down there, depending on if we just wanted to get a price to cut up and remove the one big tree that's down, or if we wanted to get a price to do the tree that's down plus all the other debris that's down there alongside that tree. We could get a couple of them, and I do know that as long as the homeowner's willing to allow us to, we have time where I could get equipment down there and we could get that smaller stuff. There's a lot of it, so it's gonna take a lot of time, but we could at least get some of it out of there with what we have. So depending on what we wanna do there, cause we can get numbers for both from those guys or whatever we wanna do, but
And the other thing would be to break it up into a 2 or 3 year project.
yeah, that would be another option, yeah.
Is there any other trees that's gonna fall?
Yeah, well, and there's, yeah, and that's kind of where, yes, there are.
Do we need to take them out too?
Cause there's at least two more, there's no more dangerous ones that it looks like that are this size, but there's at least 2 or 3 other decently large ones that are completely dead that are still standing. And then I think there's 2 other decently big ones down there that have already fallen. They're not causing any issues where they're at now, not to say that they couldn't in the future, but and that's where I guess it kind of becomes
There's a minimum of
complicated.
6 to 8 fairly good sized ones that could stand to come out.
So their quote's gonna have to include cutting their way into it.
Yes, yeah, correct. And that was kind of where when I talked to him, because when I talked to him, like I told him, I didn't know exactly what we were wanting to do here. And so they threw out some really rough estimate numbers, and like they said, it's just gonna depend on how far we wanna take this. And if we do wanna start and just try to get that big one out of there, I mean, that would be a big start. I do think when it flooded, if that big one was out of there, a lot of that debris would end up coming down to the lake, and I mean, we can get it from there as long as it comes all the way down. But that big one right now, I mean, it's just kind of created a big dam across that creek channel, which is the number one issue here.
Well, let's go ahead and get an estimate, removing the big one,
Removing the big one, okay.
and then we'll look at the other.
Am I not mistaken, Isaac, that the left side of the blue lines, there is somewhat of a path?
Yes, and
that's all on, her last name starts with a W.
Mitchell,
Mitchell, okay.
yeah. And that is all on her.
I visited with her, I think, even after we had been there one day, introduced myself. She has, I think, would let us use because there'd be, to widen that path out that's kind of already there to get down there might be our best option to get down in.
Yes, and I do know.
I think she would agree to let us use, if we clear that path.
I do think she would.
She is more in agreement to allow that, I believe.
Yes.
So we
It
can,
wouldn't hurt to get some kind of legal release from her though, because
Okay, yeah.
you're not using county employees.
And that's what I was gonna say, the last time we did that, we did just use county employees, and I know like Road and Bridge was able to get their loader down in there, which is what we needed to remove that. And she didn't have any issues, there were some ruts and stuff, and we tried to put them back as well as we could, and she was happy with it just cause it was gone. And I think this is gonna be a similar issue, because that did cause that water to run down her side of the property, and it left a ton of debris in her yard as well. And so I do think she'd be willing to work with us just
Can
to.
we widen that path to start with, even before we have people come look to replace with your staff?
I think we could, yeah.
Might be,
Yeah, I can visit
that
with
way we get that way they can drive down there, get a good look
yeah.
at what it would be to get down in there first.
see if they get stuck, huh? Come back with 2 or 3 bids.
You can almost see a little white spot there off them blue lines, and that is a pretty good little path that wouldn't take too much to widen out to get right to the area that we need to address.
Do a staff directive. Go ahead and pursue quotes and, what is it for the,
And a game plan, what we should do, maybe with 2 or 3 options,
There you go.
do it
I
half-assed
can
and
do
do
that,
it
yeah,
full way.
okay, I can do that.
See how much money Tina has. Anything else?
The only other thing are just quick little updates. I think Tina filled you guys in on this, but back in the fall, we were supposed to be doing our second inspection of that stilling basin. Due to high water from that rain we had in November, we kind of pushed it back and pushed it back, ended up working with the state around the beginning of this year. The water had dropped enough to where we could get to it. They told us let's just skip this one. We'll move on to the first one in 2026. So as of now, our plan is to do that late March, early April. And we'll keep you guys in the loop when that time comes, but we did end up skipping that second inspection for 2025, and we're gonna do our first one for 2026 this spring.
That was on one of your reports from me.
Yeah, I thought it was. We are having our annual heated dock crappie tournament. It's gonna be scheduled for March 28th, that Saturday. We got that coming. We have a chili feed to raise some money on February 21st here in a couple of weeks. We did replace a bunch of our benches out there on the historical tables. That lumber was kind of difficult for us to get, but we did get those replaced. A lot of them were in need of that. The other thing is, we touched on it briefly in 2025, but just a reminder, there will be advisories coming out here shortly. In 2025, they did find a relatively new harmful algae mats in the lake, so we are stuck with that advisory. It doesn't close anything, but we do have them present, and that is a year-round thing, so we will have some postings and stuff on that coming out here kind of as things pick up out there. But they'll start testing for the actual algae blooms here in April. So the mats are something that don't go away, the blooms are. The mats will start having advisories out here probably in March. But that was about what I had, unless you guys have any other questions for me.
Can we approve the rhino at the center? As far as, you would have to approve us putting it there.
We have to wait till the city does their grant and everything, don't we?
I think you already approved the staff figuring out placement of that.
I just wanna
Are you
know
talking
if
about
that-
buying one? Is
Yeah,
that what you mean?
I ordered one for there. I'm just wanting to make sure that we could, that that's approved to put it where the playground is. That's what I wanna say. Just northeast of the main Kingfisher or whatever.
Thank you.
Yep.
Wonder Road and Bridge.
Making it easy, Isaac.
That's how,
Well, it is a challenge, but at least it's all well spelled out and easy to.
I'll get with Tina and I'll get back with you guys on some numbers on that tree project there. Thank you.
Does anybody need the window open? Is it a little too warm or is that okay? If you, I don't know. How's everyone?
I didn't even think about it until
Tina's breaking up the fan.
temperature.
Everything's fine. It's just a little.
Oh, there's a hook.
Yeah, look, wow.
Fancy. I'll just hold my spot. Okay, mate.
Go ahead, you get the chair first.
Sure.
Good afternoon. We're going to kind of take this in two parts. We have the handwritten or the written information there, but I thought maybe since we've got a little time, I'd just give you a quick update on where we're at with some other projects. The emergency watershed protection, which is the removing the flood debris from 290th and Goldenrod and 230th and Turkey Creek. We will be meeting with NRCS on February 12th to have a meeting to go over final stream bank stabilization and getting that put to place and hopefully discuss reimbursement for the labor that and time and materials we put in that. On 130th and Remington, that was the bridge that the state came in and said excessive scouring, we had to close it. It remains closed at this point. I'm waiting on an informational packet from KAC to see if we can do a hydrology request for proposal and see if we could turn that into a low water crossing. And I don't have an answer if we can or not, but we need to get out a request for proposal to get that done. There is a KLBIP and an off system. There's 2 different grant opportunities for bridge improvements and replacement. That deadline is February 20th, and BG Consultants will be applying for that again. It's basically the same package as we applied for last year that we did not get. So that is due February 20th. I did not look up, it's later, February 24th or so, the BUILD, B-U-I-L-D. That is a fairly large federal grant. Don't have a lot of confidence that we've got a great shot at it, but we are trying to propose 330th, which is the road east of Tampa, that we have tried to get some work on that done. And we should see EBH Engineering coming and talking to you shortly with that application. So that's projects we're working on right now. Oh, and we did go ahead and schedule for all the section men and a couple alternates. On April 28th, we're going to go to Wichita for a gravel road maintenance program, which primarily works with gravel road grading, crowning, fine area hitch points. And then we have also going to dovetail with the trainers and have an on-site training the day after April 29th. We will select a spot here, and then we will have graders and material there and have them make sure that we've got everybody trained up, doing the best we can at getting rock on the roads. That's my update, if you have any questions.
About the engineering out there on the Goldenrod Bridge.
Oh, yes. Okay, so the Goldenrod Bridge, if you remember, we had that one busted pier. Gene Peterson.
Yeah.
Cook, Flat, and Strobel has presented us with a set of design engineered repair suggestions or requirements. And we have sent that to Bridges Inc. out of Newton, and they are supposed to bid that and come back and tell us what it would cost for us to repair that one pier. So that is in the works.
So the bid has been requested.
We have asked Bridges Incorporated to tell us what it's going to take to fix it.
Daily.
Okay.
That's causing a real headache for
Okay. All right.
out there.
And then also with our EWP, we'll be able to get our backfill into that and make sure that we have approaches reestablished. Okay. All right.
Next up, next. Just since we got it up on the board already, kind of like to go over last year's milestones and highlights. A couple highlighted things that we wanted to bring to everybody's attention was because of the wet year that we had last year, and we had a lot of troublesome spots with floods, drainage issues and so forth like that. We stepped up our game, and we nearly addressed 250 culverts last year, which usually on an average year, I think last year we had worked on 144. So we've done over 100 and some more culverts this year than normal. We spent nearly over $200,000 in new culverts. Let's see, we worked on tree trimming this year. We've worked on quite a few. We finally had, for the first time in over 10 years, we had a full designated tree trimming crew that consists of either chainsaw handwork along blacktop roads, a mulcher machine on a skid loader, as well as side trimmer machine, as well as a forklift or a loader with a forklift grab all. So we've really been pretty aggressive with trees this year, and we've been getting a lot of good comments about that. Gravel roads last year, miles of new gravel distributed on roads was 411. And then miles of gravel road rebuilds was 20.5. We only had, we had 20.5 miles scheduled last year, but we fell short of what was scheduled, but we did pick up a couple other miles here and there that we did do a total rebuild on. The one miles that we have problems with drainage issues and built up the road and put some rock in and kind of built that up. It wasn't long stretches like we do on our normal rebuilds that are scheduled. Blade patching, we did 37 miles of blade patching and 25 miles of chip sealing. Again, we fell short on that because of the weather. So this year we're picking it up and we're planning to do 51 miles of blade patching and chip sealing this year, which we're going to make an attempt to get off to an earlier start and try to get back on track as far as our planning. The scope of the county, that kind of gives you guys an idea how many gravel roads, dirt roads, and asphalt and cement roads that we have. The total amount is 1,580 miles of total roads. So you guys have looked at this. It was in your packet over the weekend. So have any questions, comments about that? Okay.
Hope for better weather.
Yes.
We got enough culverts in. The weather becomes less relevant. Letting all that water go where it needs to go.
Okay, and then Doug had mentioned something about, we got an operator class coming up here for the section man and so forth like that. And I'd like to go back to what was stated in December 17th, 2025 out of the Marion Record. One of the comments was made that we need to do more training. I understand that. That's fine. Yeah, we got a lot of new guys out there that need training, but the only way we're going to get good benefits is if they learn how to run a machine first. But I don't know if you got that up there about the training classes?
No, it's in there.
Everybody. This is done with 12 sections plus two trainers as well as a heavy equipment operator, and we have a total of 159 years of experience with these guys. Several of them have taken several training classes as far as KU school. We've had people come here and train. We've got guys that's been here for 20 years. So, when something's said that we don't know, we kind of take it, the Road and Bridge Department took it as a kind of an insult that we don't know what we're doing. And that hurts us to the heart. Another thing that was said too is that, I don't know, I could probably ask somebody here and they can answer this for me, but here's one of the quotes that was made out of it. If you can't be proud of your work, then don't do it. Was that intended for the whole county or was that intended for the Road and Bridge Department? Somebody can answer that for me. I'd really appreciate that. Because we took it as being the Road and Bridge Department. And by God, I tell you what, my guys say they're proud of what they do. And we're making a difference. And it upsets me that you guys as leaders will make comments like that and belittle us when we get enough from the general public as it is. And I'm just trying to stick up for them. Doggone it, guys. I mean, there ain't a day that don't go by someone's calling us up and complaining about things. I know we're doing a lot of work. I see the results on paper. And it's just really hard when I don't support you make comments. And what's really funny is you guys made a good comment the other day about the snow removal and everything. Hey, that's great. But you know what? Did it make the paper? Unfortunately not. So that's all I got to say. If you guys got any comments?
I think you guys are doing a great job and keeping the roads in good shape, and you're always going to have somebody complain. But, well, I've heard nothing but good. They call in. I think our system's working where they call in because most everybody has been taken care of within 2 or 3 days after they call in, if they call the bridge department. It doesn't do any good to tell us, they need to call the road and bridge department. That's what I tell people. And so far, they've been taken care of, as far as I know, and how the rest of you feel about that.
No, that's a lot of times they'll hit me up.
Yeah.
And then you guys are knocking it out in a day before I even have a chance to reach out to you. So it's not like they don't know what they're doing, they just haven't got there yet. And usually the call comes into me and it's a day later or two if I'm trying to remember to get it relayed or whatever, it just gets done. No, my area that I drive around the most, I always appreciate those guys. I mean, I know there's a lot of good operators everywhere else, I just don't see them as much.
We've got a question. Does the information goes straight to the road grader on their computer? Do you guys?
It goes, everything that comes out of the public, which 90% of the time goes through Public's program. That Public's program, then they assign everything to me, and then I delegate where that goes from there. It's all documented, it's all evaluated, and it's immediate response depending on the priority of it. So as far as motor grader operators, people are better off calling the office and trying to get something done about it. Then it goes to me, then I'll notify the correct section man and try to get something corrected on it.
Record of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I always like to look first before I jump to conclusions. There's some times where I've had people make multiple calls in about the same thing, and I've looked at it a couple times. Yeah, I realize conditions might change. They're on the very low priority list because at the time when I assess it, it doesn't look like it needs to be addressed right away, considering it a mile away down the road where a road's a gravel road and it looks like mud. So, I gotta evaluate and prioritize things. So again, yeah, the Public Works program it's a lifesaver.
Could you tell Mike the phone number that people are supposed to call? Could you put that in the paper?
Sure.
Yeah, it'd be 620-382-3761.
What quickest service, call that number.
Sure about that, Doug?
It actually is. By the time it relays through me and then to them.
The big thing is it eliminates more stuff for me to remember. I get texts, I get phone calls, I get emails. The best thing to do is put it all in public so we can document everything. We can keep track of when it was looked at, what priority it was, who it was assigned to, when was it handled, when was it finished. And not only that, with that documentation, we take that at the end of the year, and that's how we can give you these numbers of our accomplishments for the year without going through a bunch of paperwork. That's all right there. So, and with FEMA, that's another thing. We do any kind of work with FEMA, we can punch up flood warning or flood activity, whatever was resolved during flood, either removing drift, people watching roads for flood conditions. That all goes through Public Works too, and it's real easy for that, so.
Is there any other tools that you've seen that would be right up there with Public Works? I'm not saying replace Public Works, I'm just saying another tool in your arsenal in the form of technology.
Right now, Chase County is experimenting with a new program, and we're gonna use them as our guinea pigs for us. Doug can probably help you fill in a little bit more on that. He's been following up on it and working with Chase County. From what I understand, Public Works is becoming obsolete, or a new program's coming in this place.
Public Works has actually been purchased by another organization, and they are upgrading everything. And the upgrade is required because of the MSIR mapping service and the protocols you need to access that. So we are now looking at either signing a new 2-year contract with the the previous G-Works company, which is now HyperWeb, I believe. And just trying to find out whether or not we want to commit to another 2 years with a system that should mitigate over very well. If we go with a brand new system, there's going to be a lot of data transfer. So we're just trying to make the wisest choice for how to best spend the money and what gives the best service to our constituents. Have you seen any?
It wouldn't be like working just with a new vendor. I mean, it's a new company, but they've taken over the older stuff.
So the data.
And it'll be upgraded.
Yeah, they've actually written all the internal software necessary to mitigate or migrate all of our information into this newer package. So it's supposed to be a sister package, should look fairly similar. We're still trying to figure out if their promises are what they're delivering on their contract.
Progress.
Accountability to the,
Just
what they're sending us or selling.
Any more questions?
Any additional tools or resources that you see technology-wise for any of your equipment that would be beneficial?
That's a Doug question there.
Well,
Technology wise, I mean,
sometimes, your newer guys, they could probably use some other systems and
well, I know the one thing that I'd hope to improve on is our tablets. Every employee has a tablet now. The section men, they have problems with when they travel or when they drag approximately 10, 12 miles. Usually on the system, at times you can just drag it on a map and it'll show you exactly where it is instead of putting each mile in individually. Yeah, there's some improvements that we can get. That would be a big asset with this program, and hopefully this new one offers us that type of opportunity.
Yeah, if you're talking about tracking software, then
I'm talking about everything, anything and everything that helps you get along without having to have extra staff or whatever, because it's kind of one of these bullet points we were trying to hit in our sessions last week. So just any department that has any technological advances that we're not aware of and make us aware of. Sure, absolutely. We can look at, the cost benefit.
All right, guys, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Gene's out there.
Yes.
All done. Ready for me?
Ready for Gene?
Give you all one of these. I'm sure you all know me, Gene Winkler. I'm in charge of the Marion County Food Bank. And as you know, you guys do have some money that you donate to the food bank to use for utilities. And so I'll just hit the highlights here. We keep track of everything, the number of people and stuff that goes through this. So in the upper left-hand corner there, you can see we had 3,928 families for a total of 9,804 total people in those families. Another statistic we keep track of is new people. And you can see there at the third one over, we had 136 new households that come to the food bank this year that had never been there to the food bank before. And, with the way everything is, that's a lot of people, a lot of families, for a total of 379 people. We're having more people from the outlying areas that seem to be coming, like Lincolnville and Lost Springs and some of those towns. The middle section there, I got it broke down by city there, and you can see that I'm not gonna go through and read them all, you guys can do that. Burns, Florence, Lincolnville, there's 12 zip codes in Marion County. And you can see that total there equals the 9,804 people. The bottom part is the amount of food that goes through the food bank. I got listed there what we get from the food bank, what we get from Carlson's, churches, businesses, civic groups, individuals, for a total of 203,688 pounds in 1 year, and that's up from last year even a little bit. I just threw in there at the bottom, this is a figure that we actually did use last year. And so, and you know what you've been giving us. We'd appreciate your help. And whatever you can do for us would be greatly appreciated.
Gene, is there any grant programs that you know of that could offset these utility?
We've been working all the grants that we can, and we've been getting some.
Well, I just making sure we're not overlooking one for utilities, because the county is always taking care of it, that's all. I'm just making sure that we're not, we don't need to apply for that one because it's covered.
No, we apply for everything that we get a chance to, and you know, it has been good this year, and people have been well supportive, and you know, when you're feeding that many people, it takes a tremendous amount of food. Last Tuesday, we had a truck come in, and we got 9,000 pounds on the truck, and there was an awful lot of it was meat, which come from the food bank. We got over 250 boxes of 9 pounds of meat that we give away. That was no charge to us. We got 100 boxes of fresh vegetables from the food bank, no charge to us and everything. So we take advantage of every chance we get to get some of that stuff, and they always let us know, and they'll call us up and say, hey, we got this for you, can you take it? The other day they called and said they had 250 dozen eggs, and we said, you bet you will take them. So we got that last month, and we also got that much on the truck the other day too. So they're real good about letting us know when they have stuff, and we try to keep a pretty good supply, and so far we haven't run out of food. We've always had something to be able to give out to the people. So
Just all Marion County?
Marion County only, yeah, and we do require them to, if we got a new family come in, we require them to show us an address of a bill, you know, utility bill or something to prove that they do live in Marion County. And as long as they need food, we'll provide it.
No income level,
No income level at all, no.
I live in Marion County.
Yep. Just live in Marion County and need help. And as you can see there's 136 families this last year that needed help. It's never been to the food bank before, so.
Are all the utilities, City of Marion, or is?
Yeah, well, City of Marion, Atmos, for the deal, and just those type of utilities, what it takes to run it. And, you know, it's when you got, let's see, we got 8 two-door freezers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 two-door refrigerators. And this year we put in a walk-in cooler. They're an 8x10 because we was getting a lot of vegetables and stuff, potatoes and stuff, and we wasn't able, by only being open 2 days a week, we could not get rid of some of them before they would start to spoil. So we did put in that freezer this year. It was about $14,000, and it's been terrific, you know, that we can stick all that stuff in there and we can run 2 or 3 weeks and still good when we get ready to give it out, so.
Kudos to everybody that volunteers down there.
Yes. I mean,
Very dedicated crew.
Every day that we're open, we have usually 10 to 12 people volunteering. And when a truck comes in, we let it know, and we could have 15 to 16 people there to help unload the truck and put everything away. So our volunteers are really good. They're getting older. Some of them say, well, you know, can I do it for another year or not? So, but we do have some younger people that have volunteered too and start coming, some that never had been there before, and they're just sitting at home and they say, I think I can come and help, so.
What have we done in years past?
I just, these are total, so how many people actually utilize the food bank? I mean, you got like an average of 300 households. You got total 9,804. Well, the population of Marion County is only less than 12,000.
They can come twice a week or twice a month. So we're open Monday mornings and we're open Thursday afternoon, and they're only allowed to come every other week. So actually, you could divide that in half and say that's how many individual people, but they are allowed to come twice a month.
And then what's the value of what's donated? I mean, you got 24,769 pounds donated by individuals, 12,925 pounds donated by churches, businesses. What's the value of that food that's being donated?
We figure $1 a pound.
A lot of that stuff that's donated are like staples, cans and.
Yeah, it could be canned goods, it could be mac and cheese.
Non-perishable items.
No, it's all, and peanut butter, ketchup, pancake mix, pancake syrup, corn, peas, you know. It's all stuff that, the amount from Carlson's there is the amount of pounds that we bought from them. Cause we do buy a lot of stuff from Carlson's here locally, and
Can they sell to you at wholesale?
who? Yes, he does. He gives us a discount. I think 10% on everything we buy or whatever. I don't know.
I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah, he does.
You have to go buy.
He helps us out. And he if he comes up with a good deal coming up and something that we be using, you know, he say, hey, this is gonna be on sale next week. And so he gives us a good deal.
And that money comes from where?
What?
The money that's used to buy from Carlson's, where does that come from?
From donations.
Okay. So we've got the citizens of Marion County donating all this food already. Is that correct? An accurate statement?
The food down here is all donated from these people, yes.
The food bank in Wichita donates a
The
bunch.
Kansas Food Bank in Wichita is where we're under the 501c of the Marion Community Foundation. And that's the only way that we was able to get that. Most all the food that we have to buy from the food bank is 16 cents a pound.
I guess my point is that the citizens of Marion County are already funding this, right?
Yes, they are.
And then you're asking us to take their tax dollars when they're already funding. The citizens of Marion County are already funding this.
A partial. I mean, the food bank is the main supplier and they're funded by mostly corporate donation, aren't they?
Yes, that's where,
Food bank is
that's where most
basically
of their stuff
I
comes.
mean, not saying you can't walk in there and make a donation, but from what I've seen of Kansas Food Bank, that's corporate donation.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like every,
one other thing, just for clarification for the board too, is that these allocations that we have made in the past are paid from sales tax. So, while yes, it is money that we could use for other things, it's not ad valorem taxes. It could be, it's tax money that is spent and generated here.
What's our allocation bin 6?
Yes.
Any other questions?
Do you know how much of those total utilities are Atmos?
do
Do
what?
you know how much of the total utility number is Atmos?
Oh, I'm not, I don't know, I just looked at my figures that just went down through the year.
All they got's heat there, so
Right. I just
isn't
wonder.
very much.
Yeah.
They got
Our,
electric-
our city bill usually is the biggest one. You know, it's,
Those freezers put off a lot of heat.
and we did put in a new generator, this year too, out there. The one we had there, when we got all those units in there wasn't enough, and so we bought a new 26K generator to be able to handle the whole building, so.
I'd make the motion that we use $6,000 for the Lorraine County Food Bank.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Gene.
See you next year.
Thanks for all your efforts, Gene.
It's Tina's turn now.
Yeah, I didn't know if you want to wait to the end for the executive, or I don't know, do you have anything to discuss in open?
Yeah.
So what's your preference? Do you want to switch? Is that-
Either way is fine.
Okay.
I was gonna ask a department or even administrator, as far as maybe we look for grants that fits this utility for food bank. Which department would that be? Would that be emergency management?
I mean, everybody, I guess anybody can
I mean, just
try
keep
to
it on,
check that out.
keep it on our radar is all I'm just saying.
Yeah, we don't really have a designated person for grants, but we can send it out to everyone.
Right,
Health department maybe would be a good one.
yeah. Just
It's all part of the health, safety, and welfare of the county.
right, and looking for,
Money.
well, I mean, sometimes we just pay bills, or we just, here's some money. We overlook the fact that maybe there's a grant for it, you know. And it's covered, so we don't look for anything.
Right, and then also it wouldn't hurt to maybe, I might just reach out to the city administrator too, to see, you know, kind of how they're supporting.
Right.
Or if they are, since their utilities, they're being paid the utilities, so.
And then I would think that some of those people would come in to town and still spend some money after coming here, so,
Need to buy gas to get home.
something.
Right?
Alright, I'm done. Just while we were on that topic, I didn't wanna,
Skip down to the first one in terms of the open portion of it. Potential documents for review and approval. The two moratorium documents have been drafted. One for the battery energy storage systems, the other for data processing or data centers. Both in terms of, I'm comfortable at this point
on both of those with the definitional element of it. The portion that you would have to provide direction on is how long you'd like those moratoriums to go. Both of them charge your Planning and Zoning Commission with the duty to both educate themselves and provide public as well as board education as needed in terms of the process, and that's the primary reason for doing it. In the one case, I worded it a little bit differently, and you could certainly do that with both. One of them is commercial use in terms of the data centers. That's come up in a number of other settings where you might have someone who does kind of they throw a bunch of computers in the basement and they do a little bit of this kind of stuff on a personal level. Most of what we're dealing with or have the greatest concerns about in terms of use of energy, water, cooling, all of that kind of thing, the resources necessary are going to be the larger data processing centers. So in that one, I think paragraph 4, I note that we're really primarily focusing upon commercial use. I did not say the same thing on the battery energy storage, but probably should have. The ability to, for example, set a kilowatt minimum or maximum, if you wish, not really maximum, minimum.
Well, a cutoff, just like solar. Solar typically has a 25 kW, and then that constitutes commercial versus residential.
Right. You can go as low as 1 kilowatt if you want to, because there's some small systems and units. REA has mentioned it. They aren't here today, as far as I know.
We got other systems.
Talk to us about it.
You know, we did get that correspondence from Flint Hills last week, and
Right.
I had a chance to talk with the manager on Friday and see there's a lot of misconceptions. You know, on the battery storage, I'm thinking of big buildings
Yeah.
full of batteries. That's and you know, he explained to me that especially with some of these rural electric cooperatives, they haven't started yet. But he said now the price has come down enough to where they're looking at these batteries that they would be part of the substation. I mean, they wouldn't be obtaining any other land, and what they're used for is during peak times. He said they're about 8 foot wide and 20 foot long. We already have one rural electric cooperative in this county that are utilizing those. Now, I don't think they have one in Marion County, but he told me that the DSNO, which does come into Marion County, are starting to utilize those. And he said that their board is starting to look at that because of the price point on that. He said that basically it's a backup for the system, I would guess, in a given area, since it's at a substation. He said it's about 4 to 5 hours worth of power.
It's a tap.
And there's no water usage. And I would be hard pressed at this point to pass a moratorium that included that.
And if you do it as a blanket moratorium, I've been through this enough times now to be able to say that if you're going to enforce it, and you're going to enforce it to the letter, and there isn't some kind of a threshold level, examples, you have solar. You're storing that energy. It's battery energy storage. Going to have to define that if you wish. Otherwise, basically, the ability to say you can't have it exists.
That's exactly where I was gonna go. We got solar banks with battery backups. We have electric cars. And once you charge the electric car, now it becomes a battery energy storage system because you can pull it back through.
Yep. The one that I ran into, well, we haven't dealt with it. The one school district really thinks the world of these electric buses. And at night, those things, they're storing power in them. It's exactly what this is.
So that's where I'm not against the moratorium at all because the text needs to be written. Right now, we don't have anything, so. But how the duration of the moratorium is what is in question. I wouldn't, and that cutoff level.
Yes.
so that I don't
Those are the
have,
two
I
primary
don't have people
things.
calling me with electric cars or small battery backup systems or microgrids. Because we just outlawed all of them.
Make a suggestion, you know, I'd like to have the guy from REA come talk to us and tell us the different questions and stuff.
I plan to dive into it
Because
this week,
We're
but I
talking
just
about
haven't.
stuff we don't know anything about. I mean, we do know a little bit, well, most of us don't.
I was like,
Well, what he told me is there's possibly 2 locations out of 5 that they would consider in the future.
I mean, we get lots of opinions here.
right.
And he is more than willing to come speak to us directly.
That's what I just said.
Be wise, I think. I think it'd be wise to do that.
That's what I told him when he talked to me this morning.
They can do that.
Before we do anything for moratorium.
And then also considering the length of time that you want to use. It varies across the board. I've had as little as 12 months, because you can, in the space of a week, extend it, reduce it. Moratoriums are handy in that regard. The ability with complete flexibility in the course of week to week, you can change it if you wish. If you find that your planning and zoning commission, for example, if you've charged them with the duty of gathering a lot of this information, and it's just taken longer than they anticipated, you can extend it. If you get all the information that you feel you need and to determine, and then also they've got all the recommendations about what kind of regulation should go in place much more quickly, usually that doesn't happen, but could, then you can shorten the moratorium element of it in favor of the regulation that you're putting in place that you approve. But those are really, that scope and that time are the 2 things that you need to provide guidance on as to what you want.
And another thing that I gleaned from my conversation is the usage of these batteries that the rural electric is talking about is gonna weigh heavily, he said, going down the road on rates.
Yeah. I just got, everybody knows where I just was, but I went through and sat through a lot of freaking meetings last week. And I've actually figured out that it is beneficial for me to put solar on my house. Doesn't matter, not green. I'm not talking about being green. I'm talking about how many dollars it costs for me to put it on my house versus how the trending curve of utility price is going, that I can actually save about $33,000 before the 25-year lifespan ends. That's how much energy prices are gonna go.
And the technology advances of solar. Well,
But I do wanna make sure we're focusing on the industrial and so we need to know what that line is.
We need experts to come in and talk to us. And anybody has somebody else in mind? Let us know.
With the rural electric co-op, I mean, what, you say the price is coming down, well, there's still a cost to that, and they're not gonna pay it, the ratepayer's gonna pay it. Right?
Well, that's all I would guess. But I mean, I guess you have to look at the short term and the long term too. I mean, if we know that rates just keep going up, how do you stop them from going up?
They're not gonna stop.
They're not gonna stop.
They're not gonna stop going up.
Even if you have battery storage.
You know, there's gonna be a lot of us living in the dark again.
Well, the ones they're using now is for individuals, you know.
Right.
Somebody's got a big feedlot, grain elevator,
Right now, you're justifying your cost
so the
on 15 cents a
consumer
kilowatt.
would,
And then by the time the end of the life comes, you're looking at a 33 to 54 cents a kilowatt hour. So you're looking at that payment factor.
the consumer's buying it right now who's using electricity.
I think the scope of it's just much larger than saying we're gonna put a moratorium on battery storage, so.
Well, we say here, commercial battery energy storage systems. We don't say battery energy storage systems. And we're talking about the unincorporated portions of the county. So that if an entity wanted to come to the city of Hillsborough and say, we wanna put a battery energy storage facility in your industrial park, we're not stopping that.
And we have no ability to.
We have no ability to.
Murray's already been talked to about that. Have to,
I've got solar. Solar,
oh, solar, okay.
it's laying on the ground up by the transfer station.
Yeah, but doesn't it have batteries?
I'm sure it does.
And we're not talking about any of that, because that's within.
No.
No, we
city
need to
limits.
be talking, we're talking about
About the county.
large scale.
If you have a business out in the county, you might want to get one to help with your utility bills.
That's not commercial. That's a private,
Or commercial, I mean feedlots, grain elevators, seed companies.
that's a private individual.
Yeah. And they
Or his,
We
probably use.
don't wanna, yeah, we don't wanna infringe on any individual's right to do what they want with their own property.
So I would like to table this moratorium till we get more information.
Well, I mean, it's sitting here with final no exception for 1 KW. So I mean, that is too low.
Yeah, I just, as an illustrative, kind of a starting point, you guys would have to tell me how high you want to go with that. And again, it's kind of, part of that's the education process. How, at what point does it become injurious from the public perspective, from your perspective? So how high do you want to go with kilowatt
Need to
limitations?
match up with what so somewhere that 25 KW on solar. There's a rule that everything bases that on, and then in order to qualify, you've got to go through a whole bunch more hoops to put any more than 25 KW on your commercial property or your residence. There's something that
Yeah.
dictates that, and that's why
That's
everybody
why I think
sticks
we
to
need
it. And I don't know where it comes from.
You're sharing something to do.
Second one, the data centers, in some ways is a little easier. And again, I did the same thing there. I put a paragraph in, that, talks about commercial use. I don't define it. And it's a little bit more of a moving target in today's environment. You know it when you see it, because I put these things in on 10 acres. And the amount of water that they use to cool those units. And the amount of electricity that it takes to run things is staggering.
Wasn't there, granted, it's just an EO, but wasn't there an executive order that they have to provide their own power stations now?
Yeah.
But that's just an EO. It hasn't been pushed through Congress. So.
Not fully enforceable, but it's an advisory, really, if you want to call it that.
I don't know. I've seen they were talking about the one on North Milwaukee. In phase 1 right now, it's already pulling the same as the city of Milwaukee. Phase 2, it'll pull the same as half the state. And phase 3, it will pull the same amount as the entire state. And that's talking about every dairy, everything, matching all that load. It's an ungodly amount of power.
You have to buy the power ahead of time. They're using that much power.
So what?
But you have to buy that much, your power ahead of time.
Yeah, you've got to, basically you're a huge city at that point. So you have to do power purchase agreements to put it on the grid.
Because these wind farms out here, all that power is spoken for.
Right.
Before it leaves here.
Yeah, it's paid for by somebody else. It goes in the same grid, so.
I just hate to put a moratorium on some stuff we don't know about.
There is different advances coming with the data centers too, as far as the water usage. They're building antifreeze systems.
Yeah, that technology.
It is a moving target.
I've drawn in general.
Right.
Tell you what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
No, I think put a moratorium on something that waves a red flag and say we don't want to do business. So they won't come back and look at us.
Culturally, you can signal that as well, yes.
Yeah.
But and again, I will say on the other side of it, if you're nervous enough about it, you can put one in place that's broad and probably a bit of overkill. It does signal that, but you always have the ability to come back then and say, okay, well, we're gonna limit that a bit more. Again, a moratorium isn't set in stone. You could decide today, find out something in the next week, come back next week and say, we're gonna amend that.
Once you put one on, they don't come back to look.
No, there's, yeah,
They're gone.
it's kind of a cultural thing, but.
We can't,
But you can put them on.
we can't allow one with
We
no,
can put them
no
on
regular-
text.
with no regs,
So
so
put one on next week. if
we,
want.
we have to at least do that in the interest of creating the reg, so, or the.
This is just to buy us time to
Right.
take a look, get the facts, establish regulations, and make sure that what we're doing is right for Marion County. It's not intended to say we're never gonna have this. It's to say we need to take a look at this and we need to find what is best for Marion County. And if,
Yes, I agree when you do.
And I did try to note that in terms of health, safety, welfare.
exactly,
I got the language in there to that effect, so if someone reads it and thinks, okay, well, they're not just saying for the sake of saying it, they're looking at it from the benefit of or protecting the citizens of the county. And you're right, we've gotten really virtually nothing.
we have nothing.
Because it's a technology that we didn't dream of 5 years ago.
And then all of these basically set the ball in motion to get planning and zoning to start
Yes.
doing something.
It's a directive on your part to them, formalized in a resolution. And you can go, I have some that go further. They feel like, well, they're not gonna get on it very quickly, and they ask for some kind of a preliminary report in 6 months and put, their planning and zoning commissioner on the gun. I'm not gonna say that's good or bad. I'm just saying that I've had them do that. It's part of the resolution. It's up to you.
I believe we need to establish these moratoriums for a period of 2 years. If in 6 months, Rec could come to us and says, this is what we wanna do, this is how it's gonna impact your community, this is what the benefits are, this is what the costs are. We can evaluate that and we can either make an exception to that moratorium for that, or we can establish regulations and completely eliminate the moratorium.
The only thing I will say is want to be a little careful about the exceptions. I had one already where they attempted to do that, and then other entities that were wanting to came in and said it's an inequitable administration of your moratorium. And
That's
have to be
setting you up.
invalidated. But we're not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Isn't that
you want to be careful.
setting you up for litigation?
Can? But see, you say that like that's a bad thing. I'm kidding. But,
Maybe my choice of words wasn't correct. We can evaluate and we can determine what level we want to go to. And we can say, we're not making an exception, but this is the criteria that we're gonna use for allowing these. This is the limit. This is the criteria we're gonna base all of our judgments on. As long as you meet those criteria, you're welcome to come to Marion County. If you're not willing to meet those criteria, then
But like for these rural electric cooperatives, would they have to have a conditional use, place something on their own property?
depending upon how we legislate, the possibility exists to put them in that position even as a public or quasi-public. Because it's still health, safety, welfare issues within the jurisdictional limits of the county, and home rule applies. And that's being litigated almost monthly somewhere. So far, again, the home rule element of it has been prevailing.
Yeah, you're talking about utilities, I mean, they're just on easements. They really don't have any property to put it on.
Well, easement. I'm just saying their property.
Yeah, they don't really.
I'd like to make a motion that we table the battery storage unit until we get more information.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those against?
Aye.
I'm gonna go with the majority. I really need to know where that cutoff point is before
And I guess for direction in that regard, do you want me to try to see how much of that I can find out? Do you want to do that based on your expertise?
I'll dig into it. I mean, I've got plenty of resources to figure that out. I mean, it gets dictated in about every manual I get given. I just haven't got into these things, so.
I just end up calling the regulatory agencies. Sooner or later, I find somebody that.
You can bark up your tree, I'll bark up mine.
With regard to the data, what do you want to do there?
I think it's a non.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different animal with the moratorium, because we just, we know what they do now and what they use, and I'm sure they're evolving.
And I think we actually have some expertise on the Planning and Zoning Board. So if we go ahead and move forward with that one, I'm pretty sure they'll get that one wound up pretty quick.
Good.
And I've already put the language in with regard to commercial uses being what you're instructing them to really spend their time on. So that one I don't, the only thing that would blank in it is how long. So far the suggestion been 2 years. It's up to you.
So
can
Jody
always
is saying
extend it.
delay it till we get.
No.
Planning and zoning?
No, I think we need to move forward with that one, just on the fact, and I think we need to move forward with the battery. I want the extra week.
Yeah.
To look at that cutoff. I'd make a motion to move forward with the resolution.
Sign number for that.
Which one is it?
Actually, I think we, as a board, decided that we would not,
Oh, yeah, that's right, we would give it a week.
we give
Yeah,
it
so-
a week anyway.
Yeah.
Put it on next agenda.
Okay,
So-
I will withdraw my motion.
I would make a motion that we move forward with both resolutions, exploring limits for the battery storage to be revised and added to the battery storage moratorium, and bring both those give us a week to, I'd like to look through what you wrote in detail. I haven't had time to do that, and bring both those moratoriums for a period of 2 years each back to the board next week for approval.
I'll second that.
Any input you have, I would welcome. The one thing I'm fairly comfortable with, which is where I spend most of my time, is the definitional portion of it in terms of the scope. But the rest of it in terms of, well, I'd like additional language here that causes the Planning and Zoning Commission to concentrate a bit more on whatever, let me know. We can make those changes to it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against?
Aye.
Aye. Did you vote? Mark?
Majority,
Three.
Who's second?
I did.
So just on clarification that was basically just having the county councilor put the 2-year timeframe in, and then that going to the board to consider adopting next week, because
And after clarification on
what
megawatt limits on the battery storage.
so it's basically tabling it anyway until we know more information.
Right, till next week.
But it won't be brand new information next week, basically.
It'll be revised information next week.
You have Flint Hills come and give a presentation next week.
I have it on my notes to contact them.
If you can make it, that'd be good.
That's all I would want to add to this discussion at this time.
You never get a hold of him.
Next one on the treasurer's resolution, it's already in place because you, as you recall, had approved it as it was. What I'd indicated is I wanted some more language in it based upon chapter 12, article 39, At least that's historically what I've done, and I did it again in this particular instance. It references 123901 et sec. Basically, that's the beginning of that section in that article. 3903 specifies some requirements that part of the language in it mirrors, but it didn't cite it. 3905 likewise reassures that you've got two very pivotal departments, if you will, in this particular instance, and I wanted it to be absolutely clear that based upon those particular statutes, what their duties are, what their obligations are, what our findings were. You have to make a finding that there's duplication in order for the consolidation to even be legal in this state. I specified all of that and put the statutory citations in it. It's the only thing I changed. The basic principle of what it does and what those two departments intend to do hasn't changed at all.
So we need a motion to revise resolution, I can't remember the number from last week.
I can look, thank you.
I think it was 2025-03, I'm not sure.
We're talking about what you wrote last week.
No, I'm talking about the resolution that we approved 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Put it on this.
What?
Here's the new one.
I was still in the room. I was thinking it was in the minutes, but.
2026-05.
I make a motion that we amend resolution 2025-05 to include
2026.
I'm sorry, 2026-05 to include legal
Or statutory references and
references provided.
Can you pull that up so you see?
Which one do you want pulled up? The new one or 2026-05?
One we're voting on.
Both actually, but no, the new one is just has the references added in. So it's the
So
KSA.
the question I have, would this replace that one? Would we repeal the previous one and then adopt this one instead of just amending the previous one?
and you can give everybody a copy.
Okay.
It's just a one page, and the differences are in the appeal and resolve sections, where I added the references to the other statutes I mentioned, 3903, 3905. 3901 was what was cited, which is the general empowerment to do this.
So do I need to amend that motion? Make a motion, we rescind resolution 2026-05
Or just replace it.
and replace it with resolution 2026.
Okay, hold on. So we have this motion. Do we need to withdraw this motion to make this motion? So you're gonna withdraw your motion?
Oh, I thought I said that. Do I need to withdraw my original motion
You did.
and replace it with a motion to
Replace.
to rescind resolution 2026-05 and replace it with resolution 2026. Next number.
It'd be 6.
06.
Yes.
Is that clear as mud?
Yes.
Is it legal, Brad?
Yes, that'll work. And I'll just change the heading language a little bit. The standard languages that you're rescinding and replacing with anything not inconsistent with, et cetera, et cetera. I can put that in the heading.
Second. Discussion. Sheriff just sat in the room and make sure he didn't have anything to say about it.
I just see that.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Zero.
Update this. Yeah, I think that the date in the top is correct, but the bottom date would not be today, because that's the day they adopted it. So,
Those couple of clerical changes will be made.
okay, so I think maybe we need to go ahead and make those before we adjourn, so that we can get the signature.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Could I make a motion that we make minor text changes to 27 or 2026-07 and finalize that resolution at next week's meeting?
wasn't it 7?
06.
It's
2026.
06.
06.
06.
Oh, 06, I'm sorry.
Repealed 05
Okay.
and replaced with 20.
And which one was the 07?
No, it's 06.
There isn't.
I'm sorry.
The
That
original was
one goes
2026-05.
He's gonna do a few minor text changes to
Okay.
change the date, and
Gotcha.
then we can sign that next week. Is that
You have a second for that?
Second.
Is this something you can be done with today?
It can work either way, it's fine.
I didn't wanna put you in a bind, and
Yeah, I think it's just basically changing, I think we can get it done today.
okay, that's fine then. I withdraw that motion.
Hold second.
Okay.
No.
Next one.
Um, The final one there, in terms of the resolution that has been distributed to you, had significant input. Commissioner Dirks and then I made a fairly substantial change to section 5 to absolutely lay out, if it is your intent, to have no more than 3 consecutive 3-year terms, no matter what position they hold. Whether it's at large, whether it's in one district, whether it moves to another district, whatever it may be, you're gonna run it with the individual. They can only serve 3. And then there were material other changes, and you're right, most of what I had noted was addressed. These are changing from a 1-year hiatus to 3. You're also changing the selection process. I'm not talking about Board of Zoning Appeals, but even with your commission, for the at-large member, right now it's just a majority vote. It specifies in this, as it's been revised, 2/3 majority. And given that there's only 5 of you, you round up, even if it's below 0.5, because it's 3.3. And you can't have that fractional share for purposes of your vote. So it's gonna basically, for all intents and purposes, be what's called a supermajority. You have to have 4 of 5. And you can make a reasonable argument to do that if you wish, because on that at-large position, each of you, when this was all done, in order to ensure equity, had the ability to unilaterally, call it nominate, but select, now we can call it that, appoint. 2. So you've got an equal number from each district, with input from the elected official from that district. The at-large gets you to your odd number, which you really do need to have, otherwise you have the potential for tie vote. And so that one was created at-large and selected, not appointed. It specifically says selected in there. It's unique in how it's done. It would continue to be unique in how it's done. However, we would, as I mentioned the last time, you have the ability to address, it comes from you. This is all local level control. You have the ability to address how you want that position, first of all, to be selected. And then secondly, how long you want it to serve. I don't expect that you're going to take action on this one today, but I at least wanted to point those things out as part of it. And it comes down to the 5 of you by majority vote as to what you want in that, in the changes. It needed a bunch of changes. That part, I think, is subject to debate. But now it's a question of what do you want those changes to be?
On number 5, I'd like to see just 1 year's hiatus instead of 3.
That's, again,
It's hard to find good people that want to serve on the board. And if you get a good one, you'd like him to come back.
I don't think it's hard to find good people.
Yeah, the 1 year versus the 3 years. Hopefully you fill that position, so at least there's 3 years with somebody else. That's the way I read it, so I didn't really think much
That was
about it.
my intention.
the one I'd probably also change based upon discussion last time is under number 8. For a belt and suspenders approach to this with all the issues that it creates potentially, I would have the oath of office given at the beginning of each year to all of them. I know it feels like overkill, but I would do it.
I'm fine with that. I just felt like the beginning of each 3-year term was adequate, but.
And it's not illogical. I'm not saying that it is. I've just found that with a lot of these, something slips through the cracks. It's just easier to have them sign that oath annually when they convene. Because they will oftentimes reconstitute in terms of who's chair, in terms of that sort of thing. So it's easy to do.
I'm good with that text change. Keeps it consistent.
And I believe, and as you move through onto the Board of Zoning Appeals, the one thing that's materially different is your at-large person cannot serve on the BZA. And I don't have an issue with that because it is a unique position in terms of how it's selected and versus the other 10. If you want to create a different rule for it in that regard, you can.
And then my assumption based on the statutes involved, these are 2 separate boards.
Yes.
And so, just for clarification, you can appoint somebody to the Board of Zoning Appeals that is not on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes.
There's no statute,
Right.
there's no statute that says they
you
have to
can.
be on the Planning and Zoning Board.
That's exactly right.
It
A
says
lot of
that
them have
maybe-
done it because it's just easy. You got this group.
You got it, but they don't have to be.
No.
So who would appoint him?
You would.
Each commissioner appoints one to the Board of Planning and Zoning.
That's the other thing. That you would have 5 in that case in terms of the BZA instead of 7, which you can do. Because you've got the 3 to 7 under chapter 12 are your limits up and down.
Because right now we got 7.
Right.
We don't have any because that board was appointed.
So you,
Make that argument.
just have 5 now.
Yeah. That's the most equitable way to do it, where each of us get to appoint one person to that board. The other,
And you're right. I guess I want to stress that. Point being, I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence, but if you choose, if it were the 5 of you, if you chose to go that route, you do not have to pick them from the pool of the current 11.
The law just allows you to. The law allows you to.
And again, it's just an expediency thing. In a lot of instances, cities and counties where I do this regularly will say, it was a challenge, in their circumstances to get the 11. So let's, they're already familiar, they're hit the ground running, they know what's going on with planning and zoning. So let's go ahead and have our Board of Zoning Appeal. It used to be, that it was the same group. That's very common.
And the appeals, they would know how it got to their desk.
So you've got that side of it, but that's again, your call.
It leaves it open, so I'm good with it. You can pick them from you could still pick them from planning and zoning.
Yeah.
Or you could pick them from totally at random, which, that's just your call.
The only other caveat is, and I hope it's still in there. There's, within the statutes, you cannot have the majority of the planning and zoning. If our jurisdiction is the unincorporated portions of the county, we cannot have a majority of that board living within the incorporated
Areas of the cities and municipalities, right.
cities and municipalities. And so, that said, when there's an appeal to that board, I added in here that the planning and zone, all board members of the planning and zoning residing shall be electors or and residents of Marion County residing outside the corporate limits of any incorporated city, because they're making a judicial decision, and we can't I don't feel we should have somebody within this that lives in the city making a judicial decision for outside the city limits.
And once again, it gets into the legal side of it that supports what you're saying, is that since it is quasi-judicial, you're usurping some element of home rule with the county if you allow someone who isn't a resident of the county to do that.
Well, they're a resident of the county, but they're not a
I'm not-
resident of that jurisdiction.
Unincorporated versus within the municipality.
I just wanted to make that, everybody knows why that's in there.
Yeah, there's material differences in how this is done versus what we had in place. What we had in place is, I looked at a number of other jurisdictions that are very similar, but there's a lot of things that should be, and I've said that before, that should be addressed that you cover in here now. And I added some others that you'll want to read this pretty carefully.
Wouldn't they be part of Marion County,
They have to be part of it.
whether they live in the city or not?
Well, yeah, but
If you live in the city, you can't be on planning and zoning.
No,
no, you can.
But the majority of the board cannot live within the city.
Right.
And the Board of Zoning Appeals, they're,
If we get 6 from the city, we can't do that.
no, you can't do that. And that's why only one from each commission district may live within the city limits. And then the at-large position may not live within the city limits, because that would be the potential for a majority, and you'd be depriving one of the other commissioners their ability to select who they wanted.
You're providing additional structure to this whole process.
So again, to be consistent, we review this
Agree.
resolution and bring it back to the board on February 9th for approval.
A second for that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? 5-0.
Just one comment, on all three of these resolutions, you spelled my name wrong.
That was probably intentional. No, I'm kidding.
He's consistent at least,
Sorry.
That's the official.
Yeah.
Is it okay? I'll just send these around. These are,
Yeah.
this is the updated one. So you can make sure that I did.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, and then I changed the date on that adoption only not on the effective date. And on the actual one that you'll sign, I have the resolution number.
Okay.
So I think I have extra copies there.
Yep, yeah, sure do.
I just thought I'd confuse you all. So that was those were the only changes.
That was the old one, my old one.
Okay. So we've already approved this, we just need to sign it now.
Yes, and this is the copy that you'll sign. I just wanted to make sure that the language was what the attorney. Okay.
Paper sheets like they have at the bank, it's right here.
Then jumping back up on the general update, I'd like to do an executive session for potential litigation, to group a bunch of those together. Time-wise, at least. That's including the board and myself and two.
Yeah, but I mean, even for the whole thing.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm gonna let you know your email's wrong. That's why.
Not yet.
I know you just want to look at me, it's fine.
Everybody stare at the sheriff.
I just got done
We
telling
don't
my
want,
joke.
we don't wanna smell you any longer though.
Yeah. The airport security, doesn't matter if I strip clear down, that thing just wants people to touch me.
It goes there.
Doesn't matter, I take everything off.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to TSA 75-4319B for consultant with attorney in matter of deemed privilege and attorney-client privileges. With the board, Brad and Tina, for 20 minutes, and we'll return at 7:07. Open session to resume back in commission chambers following the closed session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Open sessions, no decisions were made.
That's everything I've got.
And I've got the personnel executive session for 10 minutes. Here.
I move that we recess in executive session to discuss the job performance of specific employees. Written to USA 75-4319B for personal matters. With the board, Brad, and Tina, for 2 minutes until 3:20. Session to resume back to commission chambers following the closed session.
Second.
What time?
3:20.
Back in sessions, no decisions were made. Do we have any commissioners' comments?
I had a conflict with the KAC deal, but they had a quorum. I talked to them on the phone, and sounds like the elected positions for the board chair, and I'll have to figure out who it is the next month. And then they had Kansas County Day, or Kansas Day, yeah. So it was scheduled at not 1 o'clock, and so it turned into a conflict for me.
So, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.